Receiving schools, here is a reference for today's lesson. Your strand, substrand, outcome, topic, materials, and your reference.
Okay, good morning 8Cs, receiving school students and teachers. Good morning, Miss Kirma. Thank you, you may sit down. All right, 8Cs and receiving students, in our previous lesson, I gave you a homework. I gave you homework where you were to define some of the words or some of the concepts or major concepts in a democratic process. So receiving students, can we have you to go up to the front and define each of those words? All right, 8Cs, can you please come up to the front and have your words define them, all right? So we'll start off with rights, responsibilities, United Nations, protection, laws, rules, law enforcement, citizens. Can we have you to come to the front, please, 8Cs? Receiving students, you go up to the front and you define those words. All right, quickly. Okay, all of you with those papers, please, up to the front, quickly. And stand in line or in order. Hurry up. Right. All right. So we have rights, responsibilities. Responsibilities, Charlie, you stand here. United Nations, here. And what? Protection, laws,
Stand in order.
rules, law enforcement, citizens last. Okay. All waiting for? Bronwyn is law enforcement. All right. Okay, we'll have Nakawas.
Rights are the things that people are entitled to do or allowed to do.
Okay, good.
Responsibilities taken under your care.
Nation, an organization consisting of certain countries who fight for the world peace.
Protection, guiding or watching over something or someone.
Laws, a state of written rules that are strictly followed. Statement, rules, a statement that what must not do and what must do.
Citizen, people belonging to a particular country or nation.
Law enforcement, to make sure that people obey a rule or law.
Okay, please class, can you give them a hand? Okay, thank you. It is. All right. All right, so receiving students, I hope you've gone up to the front and defined those words or those concepts. All right, we're going to move on to our topic for today's lesson. Sorry. All right, dictatorship. Receiving students, dictatorship. Now, I'm sure you've heard of this this term, this word dictatorship, or if you've seen a documentary, right, or you've watched a video on dictatorship, yes, I'm sure you have, or you've read stories or book on dictatorship. Oh, okay. Okay, quickly. Before you define the word, okay, before we define the word, okay. All right, quickly, HCs and receiving students, before we define the word, let's brainstorm on dictatorship, okay? Can you think of something, can you think of a word or anything that goes with dictatorship? Quickly, class. Or let's say a mind map, okay? Let's draw a mind map. And then your word, and then you can break it up again. All right, Nakawas, or any, quickly, 2 minutes. Okay, you others? Quickly, we won't wait. Any word at all, anything that you think goes in line with dictatorship? Only power? What else? Come on, HCs. You're thinking of words. Thinking of words. You're brainstorming here. Only power? Anything else? To do with dictatorship. Quickly. Our receiving students, you go up to the front and you brainstorm on the word dictatorship. Okay? Umba? Yes, okay. Thank you, good. Forcefully, absolute power. What else? Umba? Come. All right. Okay, you others are keeping quiet and watching. Yes. Is that all you can think of? Yeah, black one. All right. Okay. Yep. Okay, let's look, let's try and see. Okay, dictatorship, no freedom to elect. Is that true? No freedom to elect? Okay, they don't have, I mean, they don't elect their members or representatives, okay? Usually they have only one, just one person, a leader or a group who is in control, okay? Ruled by a dictator, okay? A person who practices dictatorship, absolute power or is in control, all right, of the government, forcefully, okay? If they don't listen, okay, if the people don't, or the citizens don't live up to their standards, okay, they use military forces, okay, to rule. For example, defense force, they use the force to, okay, to rule. All right, now let's look at the definition. What is dictatorship? Class, anyone? Receiving students, what is dictatorship? Okay, let's have Umba. Quickly. Yes.
A leader who rules a country with absolute power solely by force.
Umba again, please.
A leader who rules a country with absolute power solely by force.
Okay. Okay, class. I know your answers are all similar, okay? You're similar to what we have here. A dictatorship is a system of government in which one person has the authority. All right? You others had, you have similar meaning to this, or you have a different one? Again, a dictatorship is a system of government in which one person has the authority, okay? Okay, in dictatorship too, all right, violence. You can also find, I mean, there is violence in this type of practice if the people do not, okay, obey or follow the rules, okay, abide by the rules of that particular leader, right? They might be executed or punished, okay? Violence. Right? So whatever whatever rules are in place, people have to abide by those. Okay? All right. You finished copying? Yes? Okay, let's move on. All right, let's look at some of the features in a dictatorship type of government. All right, number one, can somebody read? Paulus, please, can you read number one?
There are usually no elections in a dictatorship.
All right, no elections in a dictatorship. There are no elections, so there's only one, there's a leader, all right? There's one person who is in control, who has the authority. Number two, please. Michael.
A dictator has complete power over our country.
All right, a dictator has complete power over a country. All right, nobody can change the dictator, all right, and no one can change whatever rules that has been in place by the dictator. All right, number three. Same. What I do? Okay. Wait, let's try and go to that one. But you don't copy the third one, ah? Just the two. You've finished copying the 2 points? Yes. Okay. All right, next one, read please. Can we have Andrew? Andrew, can you read please?
There is usually no government group to help rule the country.
All right. There is usually no government group to help rule the country. Like looking at our country, a democratic type of government. We have a government that looks after the country, that looks after the nation's affairs, whereas in dictatorship, there is no government group. And let's have Nerison. Please.
Often the dictator's power is obtained and kept by force, such as using the defense forces.
All right. Like what's mentioned up there, using military force to rule. Often the dictator's power is obtained and kept by force, such as using the defense forces or military force, all right? So the dictator's power cannot be, people cannot take away, it cannot be taken away, okay? The power, her power is obtained or kept by force. So once anything happens, the defense force or military force are there to prevent things from happening. All right. So those are some of the features of dictatorship. All right. Now we don't find these features in our country, right? No, we don't. Okay. Because our country is not a dictatorship type of government. It's a democratic. All right, you finished, class? Okay, let's move on. Okay, it says here, class, can you read this illustration? Ships. Okay, firstly, number 1. Okay, Germany used these Nazis, okay, from 1933 to 1945. All right? And would you know the leader? Yes? Okay, Adolf Hitler. He was a dictator. All right, receiving students. 1933 to 1945. And that's the emblem of that organization, or that group, or his group, Nazis. Okay, let's move on. Next one. Another dictatorship. Okay, Japan during World War II from 1939 to 1945. And then in 1952, the flag was readopted, and you have a different flag. I mean, not a different, yeah, for Japan, okay? So Japan, during World War II, dictatorship was also being practiced, 1939 to 1945. And then in 1952, they had different, I mean, the flag, the emblem, readopted in 1952. Okay, next one, the Soviet Union. All right, Soviet Union in 1923 to 1991. Okay. All right. Okay, class. All right, we'll move on. Okay, can we move on to our activity, please? Yes. Okay, our activity for today's lesson. All right, receiving students. I have 2 questions for you, please. Could you do that now for your activity? Number 1, what is a dictator? Number 2, whatever. Huh? What's the time? Oh, good. It's this time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, you can discuss your disadvantages. Mic on. Mic on.
Later, come out of online. You will voice in Saddam Hussein. Dictatorship. The other one is
All right, have you finished? Some of the disadvantages of dictatorship. All right, number one. Okay, let's correct the simple question. What is a dictator, class? Receiving students, what is a dictator? Emmanuel?
A person who practices dictatorship.
Okay, a person who practices dictatorship. Yes. Any other answers? Eunice? Thank you. Emmanuel?
Person who rules a country with absolute power or authority.
A person who rules the country or rules a country with absolute power and authority. Good. Okay. Your answers same. All right, let's look at some of the disadvantages of dictatorship. Some negatives or bad sides of having dictatorship, yeah. All right. Okay, Daphne. All right, you others listen to their answers, please.
People wouldn't have the right to freedom of speech.
Okay, yes, that's one point. She said people won't have the right to freedom of speech. They won't be able to express their views or opinions if they see that something is wrong or it's not right, okay? Next one, Emmanuel.
A lot of violence.
Violence. Next.
Citizens don't have the right to elect their representative.
All right. Good, Nakawas. Okay, one from there and then that side and then come back here.
The rights of people are being deprived.
Again?
The rights of the people are being deprived.
Okay, good. Pass it to the other side, to the next group.
There wouldn't be equal opportunities to become a dictator since there aren't elections.
Okay, good. One from this side. Listen, HCs, I hope you others are listening to the answers. Steven, okay, pass the mic, please.
People will be killed if they don't follow the laws.
Again?
People will be killed if they don't follow the laws. People will be killed if they don't follow the laws.
All right. Like what Emmanuel said, violence, huh? Okay. Any more? Okay, let's have one from Caroline.
The dictators may not consider what's best for the people, but for what is best for himself or herself.
All right. The dictator won't consider what's best for the people, but will only think of himself, okay? He'll consider what is best for him, but not for the others. All right. Okay, like what you said, freedom, no freedom of election, no freedom of movement or speech, okay? Dictator is the one who is in authority, in control. He will use force. Dictator will use force to move people, okay? Right? Or even will start up a war. Violence, fighting, killing, execution. Would you like, let's say, would you want that to happen here in our country? No, okay. I don't think so. All right, HCs and receiving students, please. This is what I want you to do. I just want you to find out if there's any recent countries going through dictatorship now, okay? Any recent countries or any dictators countries recently, okay? So maybe in our next lesson, receiving students, please just go back home and find out if there's any countries practicing dictatorship or any dictators recently. Because in our next lesson, we'll still continue with this dictatorship. All right? Name the dictator or the country that's going through practicing dictatorship. All right, that brings us to the end of our lesson, 8Cs and receiving students. Again, what are some of the features of dictatorship, class? Receiving students, please. What are some of the features of dictatorship? Number one, Eileen.
No elections.
All right, no elections in a dictatorship. In dictatorship, Zimalin.
A dictator has complete power over a country.
All right, dictator has complete power over a country. Next one, please. Any other feature of dictatorship, class? Receiving students? Okay. We have the mic close here, so Rose, Priscilla.
There is usually no government group to help the country.
All right, no government group to help rule the country. Okay. And last of all, can we just give the mic close to someone? Someone speak. Okay, Andy.
Often dictators' power is obtained and kept by force, such as using the defense force.
Andy, please again read.
Often the dictator's power is obtained and kept by force, such as using defense force.
Okay. All right, 8Cs and receiving students, please sit up straight. Look up here to the front. I've told you already, please, can you go back home and find out any recent countries with dictatorship and dictators, all right? In our next lesson, we'll still look at dictatorship, okay? That brings us to the end of our lesson, 8Cs and receiving students. Thank you very much for listening. Pilot teachers, our keyword for today, dictatorship. Thank you, 8Cs, receiving students and teachers.
You're welcome, Miss Yurima, and thank you for your lesson.
Teachers, here is your reference for the next lesson. Your strand, substrand, outcome, the topic, materials, and your reference.